Every professional has a unique magic waiting to be discovered. At Finding the Unicorn in You helps you unlock your hidden potential. Thank you for tuning in. Now switching it over to our host.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Finding the Unicorn in You. Today, I have a very special guest who is the founder of Golden Hour Life Coaching. She is your personal hype squad in human form with 20 years of experience helping humans navigate everything from grief, breast cancer, and depression to negative self-talk and mindset resets. Her heart beats for deep transformation. She is also certified as a Gallup CliftonStrengths coach, helping you discover what's right with you and build from there. And she makes your life go from meh to amazing, where she helps you shine. So without further ado, welcome Gabriela Holt.
Thank you for having me, Jaime.
Thank you for being on here. I'm super excited to dive deeper into what Hour Life Coaching is and how you got into it. So tell us a little bit about you and your story.
Yeah. So I thought I was going to retire as a high school counselor. Was a high school counselor for like almost 20 years. And life happened. And then I resigned. I just not one day random, but I resigned because there was a misalignment of culture and my values. And I had just decided it was a non-negotiable. Without any plan, I resigned from my job mid-year, and I found myself just leaning into my strengths. I knew that I would find something that suited me and that was of value to both the organization and myself. And I came across a life coaching position at a local community college. Shout out Rio Salado Community College, where I got all of my training and fell in love with life coaching. And it is a grant position. So I decided once I fell in love with it that I was going to open my own business in case the grant went away. And so almost a year now, it'll be a year in July that I started Golden Hour Life Coaching, virtual coaching.
I love that. I love that. And you were able to get on your feet and then do something that actually led you to more passion. And now you're helping people grow. And I love your little saying from meh to amazing. I think that's pretty awesome. So I know you got your coaching degree and you even got your Gallup strength coaching certification. So what are some things that you feel helped you get there? Like what was the driver that made you like, you know what, I'm going to start my own business and I'm going to take that leap?
I think all of the obstacles that life provided me throughout my, after up through high school and then after, without knowing it, obviously, but resilience is a real thing. And sometimes you don't realize how strong you are until you do the work on yourself. So one of my guiding principles is to fly, to first love yourself. And even when I thought that I did, I realized that I didn't. Every time I found love and, this is the one, I fell in love. And it wasn't. I just kept learning from experience after experience. And then I finally realized, like, wait a minute, I don't completely love myself. So I had to do the work on myself, and then life still happens. Even when I'm loving myself and looking for my person, doing my career as a high school counselor, loving life. And, I have a degree, quote unquote, that's like, oh, society says what you're supposed to do. I'm doing the thing and still single. But life happens, and life happened a lot to me in different situations that knocked me on my ass or tush. I don't know what's appropriate. And I've never really had familial support. And so even coming to Arizona to go to college, I never was in fear of failure, but I knew there was no fallback plan. I couldn't go home to mom and dad's house. There is that didn't exist. So the resilience piece was huge for me, and it didn't really come to fruition until I had a lot of hard lessons thrown my way in my 20s, my 30s. And then I each time I got knocked down, I got up even stronger. And so this last time, like I said, I thought that I would retire as a high school counselor. And that was my tunnel vision because that's what my master's is in. So this is all I can do. And then I said no, because there's something else. I can still help people and not be in the educational system. And so, yeah, I just took a lot of getting knocked down, getting back up, and resilience, reminding myself, meet yourself where you're at. I'm good just as I am. I'm not broken. I have all the answers. I just have to self reflect and find where I want to go and my goals. So, by the grace of God, I found this position and I hesitated to apply because it was grant funded. So, that doesn't mean that I'm going to have a job every year. So, I thought about it, but the description, Jaime, the description was made for me. I read it and I was like, to my now husband, I'm like, read this. He's like, this is you. I'm like, and so luckily I got the position. And then that's what led me to getting trained as a life coach through Coach Training EDU. We've done the Stanford Design Your Life Studio virtual program, and they certified Gallup CliftonStrengths training. And while I thought that I had already done a lot of the work, and I had, life coaching is different than counseling,
Oh, yeah.
and really was even more transformative as I was in my training and practicing being the coach and then being the client. Because in my training, when you're the client, you're using real stuff. You're not just making stuff up.
Yeah.
So I was crying most of the time.
Aw.
But it was so powerful because, in counseling, it's more like, oh, let's dive in. Like, let's go back and heal that past trauma. There wasn't really a past trauma because I've done a lot of work, as I mentioned, in counseling and therapy. And so it was the first time I started crying. It was surprising because the coach wasn't like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, or anything like that. They were just addressing the tears, addressing maybe my body language or the words that I was saying. And at first I was like, I didn't want to be pitied, but it was just like, oh, it helped me just grow even more. So fell in love with that. And I'm a believer in any kind of self-help, but yeah, resilience is key.
I love that. And being able to go from a place where you had little support, little, like set things where like, wow, this is going to be a set path for you. And you still figured it out. You still did it on your own and you still were able to push yourself forward. And now you're taking that and helping others so that they don't feel so alone in their journey and being able to help them really find what's missing and what's stopping them in their roadblocks. It's very admirable that it's like a very not many people will do that based on like your history, you know?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just have always felt that I'm my own cheerleader. I was a cheerleader in high school, but like if I have, and I've told my clients, high school students, like sometimes you don't have that Hallmark lifetime family.
Yeah.
It does exist for some people, but if you don't have that, sometimes it's hard, but you have to be your own cheerleader. And so I've always, even right now, I can picture a picture of my 8-year-old self that I have next to my bedside as a baton twirler. And, I'm doing it for her. Like,
Yeah.
even when no one has your back or people are telling you, like, that's not going to pan out. That doesn't exist. That's not going to work out. If you lean into your strengths and really know who you are and love yourself, anything is possible. That's why my little tagline is create the life you want to live, because I truly feel it's possible. It just, again, it takes work. And I know people kind of, what do they say? Like they maybe are snarky at like, oh, affirmations and mirror work and telling yourself that you love yourself and looking in the mirror. But if you put in the work, it works. And
Yeah.
you start to believe the things that you're telling yourself in your head.
Yeah. A lot of it is you have to buy in into the program. You have to buy in into the methodology. If you are just doing it for the sake of doing it, you're not going to get anything out of it. I tell every single client
Mhm.
that I work with, I will give you all the tools, but you're only going to get as much as the effort you put in. If I'm
Mhm.
putting in more effort into your growth than you are, then this is not the right place for you.
Yes. And that's what I love about life coaching too, is I had to wire my brain a little bit because as a counselor, I was asking a lot of questions that were yes, no, or especially as a high school counselor, it's more fast paced because I'm not seeing the client for a full hour or anything. But there's still like suicidal ideation or homelessness or, students afraid to come out, whatever it could be. And so it's almost like a band aid, like China. So instead of allowing them to come to the thought and decision of what to do next. Sometimes it's like, here's some resources, here's some suggestions. This is what I think you should do. But in life coaching, it's not that. And so to your point of the client has to do the work and really trust the process. It when I have a client that almost every other time we meet is like, so I want to know if there are any tools or tips that, you can give me for XYZ. And I always say, so how did XYZ go? That the tool that we used last time that you had mentioned you were going to start practicing. Oh, well, I haven't. I forgot about that or whatever it could be. And I'm always reminding them it's no judgment, but also when we partner, I do let them know I'm gonna call you out. How do you want me to call you out, with heart or with heat? And so it's just a gentle, like, you have to do the work for it to work. There's no like, let me write a prescription, say I love me 10 times and everything is fixed. Anxiety is gone. Your love life
Yeah.
is all great.
No, yeah. And they have to go through the discomfort. Like the only way we grow is through discomfort. We want to stay in the comfort of the sameness. But if you're unhappy with everything that's around you, doing everything the same is not going to change it. What is Einstein's
Mm-mm,
like definition of insanity? Is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. That's not
mhm.
the way to live. If you want drastic changes in your life that's going to make you happy and make you feel fulfilled, you're going to have to do drastic actions.
And be open to the fact that, yeah, you might get hurt, but you're just going to get back up, learn from it, and move forward. I came across a quote maybe about a month ago that I love and I shared with my clients and they're like, "Oh, I love that." I'm like, I don't know. It said unknown. So I don't know who came up with this quote, but I love it. It's a comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is comfy and cozy there, but then you can like get in your feels and your head, like, why am I not finding love? Or why I hate my job? Or because you're not doing anything about it, babe.
Hmm. Exactly. No, that's a really beautiful quote. And it reminds me of another one where you're only like a fish only grows as big as its tank. So it's like
Uh,
the same thing. Like you can't after a certain maximum, you can no longer grow. You no longer fit there. And your
no.
body's not gonna keep expanding or keep growing because you're not gonna survive if you keep going. So you have to be able to change your environment, change your tank and into bigger open waters and see where it goes.
And I think it's hard, especially as you get older, because even with my high school students, they're like 15 to 18, but yet they have these ingrained thoughts or beliefs about what they can do based on what they've heard and seen growing up. But now, as adults, even our age, I do see clients that it's hard, but I also, it's hard and sometimes there's resistance in the beginning. But once they trust the process and start doing the work, it is possible to rewire your brain and create new synapses so that that negative thought or limiting belief, when you think about it, it no longer is there because you've replaced it with something else. So an example for me is at one point, late 20s, early 30s. So I'm in my career as a high school counselor. So I have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and single lady. And you know how people always say, like, oh my God, that's so stupid. I can't believe I just said that. Or they just throw around the word stupid flippantly. And I do that. I was doing that too. But what was going on in my world was just toxic. And so when I would say that, I recognized that I started to believe that I was stupid. And
Yeah.
like, well, wait a minute. Well, wait a minute. That's irrational because I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. I'm not stupid. So for me, because it was impacting my mental health and the way I thought about myself, I had to figure out a word I would replace it with. So it
Mhm.
took me a minute to figure out what I wanted to replace it with that resonated with me. And I ended up choosing silly because it makes me laugh. And so it took a lot of practice. And, in the beginning, I would still say stupid and like, yeah, me, why'd you do that? Like beat myself up. But then I'm like, no, stop beating yourself up. It's okay. You're just trying to do something new. And eventually, probably about 6 months, I realized that I hardly ever say stupid. I don't mind if other people say it, but I still say silly. And on occasion, if I do slip up or say idiot or stupid or something, my husband will call me out and he's like, babe, you're not stupid. I'm like, you're right. I'm not. You just got to do the work. And like you said, trust the process, the methodology. If you work it, it works.
Exactly. And I completely agree. The words that we tell ourselves are super powerful. And even if our consciousness doesn't think it's real, our subconscious can still ingrain that into our system and make it a
Mhm.
belief in the back of our minds. And with a little bit of pivot, just because I do like to talk about stress and how that impacts our life. How do you manage your stress, especially like managing all these different clients and managing your business and then just like, in your personal life, everything that happens, like how do you keep yourself grounded when things are getting a little bit too hard to breathe?
Yeah, I have to practice what I preach. But that is also why I love coaching, or even when I was teaching as a counselor, like a part-time faculty, because you're teaching these, emotional intelligence and interdependence and self-love and self-worth and all these important themes. And so even though I might be going through something, it's a great reminder. But when I'm not with a client or I haven't been teaching, you forget sometimes, we're humans too. So what I do is I kind of just go back to my core and remind myself, like, what brings me joy? How do I fill my cup? And yoga is one of them, but hot infrared yoga is my jam. So yoga, and if I, and sometimes times are tough and I'm not able to go to my favorite studio. So I use the Down Dog app and they have yoga, but they also have meditation on there and hit workouts. And so sometimes I do that. And then one other one that I've been always leaning on because I feel like she's my girl, she's my bestie, rest in peace, girl. But Louise Hay, I love her. And I actually, I use this with my clients because sometimes I don't have the best ideas, but about a positive affirmation that will resonate with them. But I have her book that I can do it. And it has the different themes of forgiveness and affirmations on love if you're seeking love or different things. But it has a CD in the back. Obviously, I don't have a CD player, but I used to have it. I used to have this whole tape on my iPad back in like 2011, and I would push play when I go to sleep, and it'd just be on repeat. Because, like you said, my subconscious needed to help me believe it, and I couldn't find it for a minute. But recently, I found it on Spotify, so I've actually been re-listening to it. Because reading is great, but I like all of the senses, so I want to
Yeah.
listen to it too. And it's just a good reminder, it's just like when you don't do something for a while, whether it's riding a bike or surfing or loving on yourself and filling your cup, it's okay to go back and reset. And so
Yeah.
that's what I do from time to time, but especially if it's because it's been there when it's like, I can't breathe. What's happening? And that's pretty much kind of what was happening when I realized I needed to leave that last school counseling job. I was like, this isn't me, and I value my mental health so much that I gotta go. I can't even finish the school year, unfortunately, because it was impacting my mental health and physical health, but mental health so much.
I love that. And those are really good tips to be able to kind of ground yourself, and different things work for different people, but you get options for people to kind of at least try and see if that works for them. But I completely agree with you with yoga, and I haven't heard about that app, so I think I might download it and try it out. I'm always trying different things, like, but thank you so much
It's
for
so
sharing.
cool. Because for a while there, it was free if you had an educator account or like you were a student or something EDU. So I'm still doing it for free. I don't know. You can say like, I want to practice for 10 minutes, or I want to, my first focus is core. And then I want my second one to be my wrists. And so then it just populates us whatever for you. Or I want to do it for an hour. You can change the voice. You can change the background music. That's pretty cool. And they have chair yoga. They have all kinds of yin yoga, like all kinds of stuff. So,
I'll have to take a look at it. Thank you so much.
yeah.
And,
You're
and we're
welcome.
running out of, we're running short on time. So I wanted to ask you the last question, which is, what is the unicorn lesson that you have experienced that changed your life and impacted you the most?
Well, my unicorn lesson was in March of 2018. I had been working on myself and Loving Bravely. It's a book that I used to work on myself because I was really looking for my person and just overall enjoyment in my career and life. And in March of 2018, there was a full moon and there was a yoga studio in Central Phoenix that was offering yoga with the silks, eye gazing. You could bring your birth day where you were born and the time, and they tell you like what all that meant. And then you could bring your desires or what you're trying to manifest, this list that I had already been doing before this event. And then, you manifest it, tell the universe what you want, and then we burnt it. And then there was Reiki. It was just a whole evening of filling your cup. And I kid you not, after that, and about, a couple weeks later, on the app that I was on dating, my now husband reached out to me, and he didn't live in the same state. And I was like, who is this dude? What do you want? I don't even know. So anyways, I kind of kept him at a distance, but then he was coming to Tucson for a work conference. And so I did decide to drive down there to meet him, to have dinner. And all those cliches came true. It'll happen when you least expect it. When you know. Because it was literally like when I saw him. We talked a little bit, but I was really hesitant because he didn't live where I lived. That is something that I didn't put on my desires because that wasn't important to me to find someone here in Arizona. So I say that it's my unicorn moment because having found my person, when I already knew that, you can create the life you want and you can love on yourself, but having found him and it worked out and we're continuing to show up for one another is a great reminder, but also was a big win for me because I come from divorced families. I don't know what it looks like, what the roadmap is to have this happy marriage. And I have family members that were telling me, that what I was looking for, that doesn't exist. Like, you better stay with that person and get married. Because there were several opportunities that, well, not several, but I know of two for sure that were going to propose to me. And I was like, get it right here. It's hard enough to say no, but I'm like, no, this is not for me. Not my unicorn moment because it's possible. even in the face of naysayers, you can achieve what you desire.
I love that. And it's something that you really do create the life that you want. And you really have to set that intention out there. And then your behaviors are going to align and you're going to start really attracting the right type of energy, the right type of people into your life. That is amazing.
Yes. That's how we came to know each other, right? Thanks to
Exactly.
Rajiv.
Exactly. It just
Good
means by setting
vibes.
the good vibes out there, and good people let you meet good people. No, I love that.
Like
Well, thank you
attracts
for
like.
exactly. No, well, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us and being on the podcast. If somebody wants to follow your journey, ask you questions, or if they want to hire you as a coach, how can they do so?
My site is goldenhourlifecoaching.com, and I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Same, Golden Hour Life Coaching is the handle.
Nice. Awesome. And for listeners, don't feel like you have to write all this down. If you scroll down, you'll be able to see all the links in the show notes. And as well, if you go to my website on rainbowcareercoaching.com, go to the Unicorn Wall of Fame. You can see her on the unicorn, all her information on there, and a description of what we talked about today. But thank you so much for being here. Any last words before we close out?
I just really appreciate you inviting me onto your podcast. And I am a fan of the Rainbow Career Coaching podcast and all that you're doing. So I'm just honored to be in this coaching space with you, because as we've discussed before, like, there's room for everyone
Yeah,
in whatever space. You don't have to be mean or nasty. There's someone for everyone, and not everyone is everybody's cup of tea.
exactly. But no, I appreciate it. And I enjoyed like you being part of this group and being able to be on here. And I'm excited to see where your journey leads. And I'll be your biggest fan from this side over too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And until next time, everyone.